following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I hope that you can hear me. Something just got disconnected just as we got started. So I'm going to kick things off with my friend Mickey Bell. We're going to talk about something deep and dark that hides underneath a lot of us. And it is about comedy and how sometimes comedy can cover up something that we don't want to tell everybody, but he has opened the conversation. Mickey Bell coming up right after this.
How many gospel music fans do I have in the house with a drinking problem? They told me when I was going into a restaurant, they said, now, Mickey, you got to wear your mask to the table. But once you get to the table and you sit down, you can no longer catch COVID. So go ahead and take your mask off. Hey, it's also a good reminder to turn off your cell phones. I have a good friend that he's notorious for leaving his cell phone on. And he also has these weird ringtones that play at the very worst moments in life. Do you know what I'm talking about? So the last time it happened to him, he was at his great-great-grandmother's funeral. Yeah. The minister says we've gathered here today to celebrate the life of great-great-grandmama. And about that time, his ringtone went off, and it was ding dong, the witch is dead. Do I have any Pentecostals in the house? I love it. I love it. That's the mating call for Pentecostals. Woo! If you say the word Pentecost and you don't woo, you could probably lose the Holy Ghost. Everywhere we go, I'll say Pentecostal, woo! All right, let me ask this question. Do we have any Baptists in the house? Okay, now y'all are hypocrites. Y'all have never wooed in your life. Y'all not even supposed to be here. You snuck in the back and now you've been exposed. Or maybe you're just dealing with some depression and anxiety, which is exactly what I have dealt with. And if you're familiar with my testimony, you know it started while I was serving as a senior pastor of a church, a very thriving, growing church. And in the middle of all of that growth, it just seemed like my life started spinning out of control. My emotions were off the chart, and it ended up that I started making some sinful decisions. Tell them where you went to high school.
Beaver Dam.
Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
You can't say it without cussing. Tell them what your mascot was.
Beaver Dam Beavers.
All right, go with me. Go with me to
Help us,
Beaver
Jesus.
Dam, Kentucky right now. Let's go to their pep rally. We are the Beavers.
He ain't scared. I'm going to go to Mickey Bell right now. Mickey, how are you?
Hello, Miss Devon. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your program today.
And I'm glad that everything like went black. One of my microphones died right during that, and I'm going, well, I'm just going to hope everybody can hear me, and I'm going to switch everything out. But I learned about this wonderful platform through you because you have a show. Let's talk about your show first. You've got a show all the time.
Yes, it's called Hey Mickey, and it's a podcast. We just kind of talk to individuals who are making a difference in our life. I just recently talked with William Lee Golden. We talked with Rhonda Vincent. And
Oh, wow.
tomorrow I will be interviewing Dr. Ben Carson. And so we're going to be
No
talking about some of the
kidding.
things that are going on in America right now, pretty much talking about how screwed up we are. But I'm going to be talking with him. And so it's just a fun way for me to kind of give back a little bit of my time and just introduce people around the world to individuals and just try to bring some cheer. It's like you in your show. We're just trying to bring some light to a very dark world.
Amen. Well, speaking of, I shared your video because I've never seen anybody who's a comedian talk as openly about depression as you. And I keep thinking in my life, if Robin Williams had been able to tell people more about what he was going through, I wonder if that would have made a difference.
See, my viewpoint on that, especially with Robin Williams, if you will notice, we are all telling everybody what we're going through and what we're feeling. It's just up until this point, no one was listening. No one knew the signs to watch for. No one knew that when he made comments, they thought he was just joking. They thought, oh, that's part of his act. But what people don't understand is usually our comedy is our outlet for being able to deal with the pain that's going on the inside. And
Right.
I usually kid around about it myself. I said, well, I used to be bullied in high school. I used to be picked on. I used to be laughed at. Now I'll just go ahead and just go out there and get laughed at and get paid for it. So that's the way I kind of turn it around. But I think if you will watch and if you will really listen, every person, whether it's a comedian, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a country music artist, it doesn't matter who we are. And it could be the person that's just sitting at home right now wondering if they even have a life anymore. We tell with the things we say, how we say it, and our outlook on life. I think what we have to do and what you're doing with this program today is just helping people understand that we need more listeners. We need more people who will listen and be ready to help when needed.
Well, I've had several people reach out to me in light of losing Naomi Judd. And people said, why haven't you said anything about it? I said, my heart is broken in the aftermath of something like this, in the aftermath, those people who are left to pick up the pieces, it's so hard for them. And I don't even know what to say other than my heart is breaking for Winona and Ashley right now. And for Larry, her husband.
Absolutely. It is a situation. It's really kind of confusing for me. When you are going through depression, you feel all alone. You feel like you have no future. You have no hope. But in the past year for Naomi, she had a lot of things going for her. What a lot of people may not realize, if you're just watching the Facebook post, is that her and Winona had a tour they were about to do together. It was about to be the final tour. We're talking into the millions of dollars it was going to bring in, so money was not going to be an issue. We're talking about being on stage again, feeling relevant, feeling like you have a purpose. And then, I mean, come on, she was hours away from being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so the timing was really weird when you think about the aspect of it, but we don't know. That's the thing about, we don't understand and know what was going on in her mind. Were these things not enough? Where was she looking at other things? Was she looking for validation in other areas in her life? We just don't understand. And that's the thing about mental illness, is that it's not the same. It's not like you can just say cookie cutter for every person that deals with mental illness. Because, Devin, the one thing that we have to understand about mental illness when it comes to depression and anxiety, here's what it is. I'm going to bring all of the doctor's reports down to this right here. It is simply your mind trying to respond to a tragic moment in your life. That's what it is. Your mind is throwing thoughts at you based upon a tragedy that has happened.
Wow.
And it's not that you are weak. It's not that you are not all that. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's just that you have endured some form of tragedy in your life that your mind is having a hard time understanding and knowing what you need to overcome that. That's why many people will go to medication. And I've got a whole thing I could say about medication. I'm on it, but there's things people need to understand about it. But that's why the medication helps, because it helps put our mind at ease in trying to figure out what our body needs.
Oh,
And
that's
what we have to
huge.
do-
Oh,
Go ahead.
that's huge. What you just said it's so important, and it's important that people understand when it comes to diagnosing themselves.
Mm,
We don't always know we're in depression. I had to have two people very close to me who know me very, very well go, you need help.
mhm.
To me, I go,
yeah.
what are you talking about? I'm Mary Sunshine. I make everybody laugh. La, 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 la. How did it present for you, Mickey? How did it present? What did it
Well,
look like?
I hit rock bottom. Choices in my life caused me in a matter of 10 minutes to be unemployed and homeless. The last thing I had left was my family. And my family just finally came to me and said, look, Dad, you're going to have to do something, or we're going to have to do something. So it came to a point where I had to choose, am I going to suck it up, admit I have a problem, get over my pride, check in my man card, and say, okay, I'm going to go get some help for the sake of keeping my family. And so sometimes it takes that.
Mhm.
Some individuals can go at a moment's notice and it doesn't bother them. Others, it takes a little more. And that's where I was.
Right.
And I decided that I was going to go fight for my family because that was all I had left. So that's when I went out and got the help that I needed. It took a year. I met with a doctor. I met with a physician. I had 4 men who were a support group for me that I met with every week for an entire year. Every week.
It's different for everybody. It's different
is.
for everybody. Some people think, well, I don't feel sad. Okay, let me throw this one out there. What if you all of a sudden don't feel anything?
Mm,
That was me.
yeah.
I wasn't sad. I wasn't unhappy. I didn't recently go through a death in the family or anything like that. I just lost my ability to care about
Absolutely.
anything. And it was like and I didn't realize it, but people who love me saw it and they said, this isn't you. This isn't you. We need to check this. And so I made some changes. So let's talk about depression and the church.
Okay.
Naomi was very involved in the church. You are a clean Christian comic, and you are in churches all the time. So let's talk about how the church looks at mental illness, broad strokes.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's one of the paths God's put me on. I did not know that when I started this journey of being a comedian. I did not realize in full scale of what God had me to do. And I really believe that one of the main reasons he has me go into the stages where I'm going and doing what I'm doing is to open up the conversation inside the church when it comes to depression and anxiety. It seems like that's the one place that we cannot go for help because the people there don't know what to say. And so they say the wrong things. They will make comments like, just get over it. Trust me, if we could just get over it, we would.
Pray more.
They will
Pray
say things
more.
like, you need to pray more, honey.
Uh-huh.
I'm praying more than you are because I'm praying to stay alive. You need to get closer to God. And this is the one thing that I always say. It's sad that you would never tell a person that is going through cancer. You would never tell them, you don't need to take that cancer treatment. You just need to trust God. You would never look at that cancer patient and tell them, if you had more faith, you wouldn't have cancer. You would never look at them and say, why don't you just get over it? So I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to uh, get people to do something that we don't understand. So if you would never
Hmm.
say that to a diabetic who takes shots so they can eat coconut cake, then don't come at
Hmm.
me when I'm dealing with an illness. And I think what my job has been is to open up the conversation and to let
Yes.
those people know that are sitting inside the church, God would never talk to you the way that other Christian people talk to you. And so I'm
Isn't
trying to
that the
get them to
truth?
understand that He loves us. He would never
Hmm.
tell you to get over it. He would stick out His hand and He would say, Here, take me by the hand. I will walk with you and we will get through this together.
Oh, you just preaching now. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. And you can get your smile back. You can
Yeah,
get your laughter back. You can get your family and you can get things back. And when it comes to the aftermath, and I know that you've had someone that has come to you at a time when you've spoken who's lost someone to suicide.
my goodness. Every
Ah,
night, every night. I've had people come up to me every night in tears. And it's kind of, I say funny, it's kind of ironic that at a comedy show, people are coming up to me crying. But yeah, that's what happens. People come up to me all the time. I have
mm,
pastors who will secretly tell me after the show's over, "Hey, man,
wow.
I think I'm dealing with this, and I need to talk to somebody." So
Right.
yeah, we hear it every night. And there's one thing, if you don't mind, if you've got just about 30
No, I
seconds, there's one thing I want to speak to because we have a misconception when it comes to depression in the church. We will have people who will say, if you will pray to God, He will heal you from this. Okay. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. But you have to understand what is actually taking place. Just because God can heal me of depression doesn't mean that I'm never going to battle it again. It's not that God takes it away. And let me explain what I'm talking about. When Christ died on the cross, He died for our sins. When we go to God, we say, God, I need you to heal me from my sins. I need forgiveness. God does that. Amen. God does
amen.
that. He
Hmm.
saves us. We're healed from our sin. Do you ever sin again? Absolutely. Or do you live a perfect life? Are you done with sin? Are you done with the temptation to sin? Or did God make a way for you to get the remission of your sins? So you
Oh,
have
that's
to
a good
understand
point. That's a
that
good
dealing
point.
with
Yeah.
depression, sure, God can touch you. God can touch your mind. That does not mean that the enemy is going to give up from attacking you with the thoughts that he already encaptured you with before. So
Oh,
when these
good, good.
preachers
That's
want to
good.
talk about the fact that, well, if you'll just let God heal you, well, good. God also saved me. So why can't I live a perfect life? Yeah, God saved me. So why is it that I still deal with sin? Why is it that I still would deal with temptation? It's because we have a real enemy in this world that is coming after you. And if he cannot come after your salvation because you've been
Mm,
covered by the blood, then he's going to come after your joy. He's going to come after your peace. He's going to come after your future. He's going to come after your kids. He's going to come after your mind. So, yes,
mm.
God can heal me, but that does not remove the enemy who is going to come and attack me tomorrow just because I went and prayed at church last night. It's a daily journey. And just like you have to have your mind right to stay as a believer in the good graces of God without
Yeah.
sin, then you also have to have your mind right when it comes to dealing with the depression and the anxieties in your life.
That is so beautifully put as someone who's been there. And Mickey, I just want to thank you for being so honest. And I knew you would be, and I know it would help people because what has happened with Naomi has touched a chord in people
Hmm.
everywhere. Not it, they didn't even know her, people who didn't
Right.
even know her, but it brings up the things of people in the traumas that we've had in our own lives. And it brings up, it's like, well, what if that happened in my life? Or maybe they've got a parent or a child who's committed suicide. I want to tell you that right now, if you're listening and watching what we're doing right here, I want you to reach out. The Big Payback is coming up, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you go to thebigpayback.org, there are countless organizations who, for a nominal fee, can help you get the help that you need. If you said, I don't have insurance, I can't pay for it, or whatever, they have recovery programs for people with mental illness that are available to you in the state of Tennessee, really wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
But the big payback is going to help some of those. And maybe it's time that you give to some of those organizations and find out what they are. Mickey, where are you? You've got, let me see, where are you going to be? You got a play. You're on the road with David Phelps, aren't you?
I'm on the road with David Phelps this weekend. I'm also with Jason Crabb this weekend. I'm about to be, Guy Penrod's coming up, Stephen Curtis Chapman, Unspoken. We're doing festivals this summer with just a whole list of people. Just exciting times. I can't believe I'm doing what I'm doing. And, but I'm just thankful for that. And let me also say to you that doing this program and talking about what you're talking about is not allowing Naomi's death to go in vain. And so it is one of those things where people say, what can I do? Miss Devin, you're doing exactly the best thing you could be doing right now. And that is taking her life and her passing and using it as a tool to reach other people. That keeps Naomi alive. That honors her life, is by using this opportunity to reach out to people for that. So I applaud you for the fact that you're taking the time to do it, but also the fact that this is the perfect thing you could be doing to honor her.
Thank you so much for saying that, Mickey. And we want to make sure that everybody who needs help is getting it. We want to encourage you to reach out for help. TheMickeyBell.com. Follow him wherever he's going to be. And, you know, it's so funny that you mentioned Guy Penrod. His wife, his sweet, saintly wife, Angie, years ago, we met each other. We were both two tall blondes. And when she handed me a cassette of her husband, she said, he's a really good singer. I want you to hear him.
Yeah.
And she handed me this, and I handed it back to her after I listened, and I said, he's too good for country music. He sings so great. Guy Penrod is probably one of the best singers I've ever heard in my life. And sure enough, he ended up with the Gaither Vocal Band and David Phelps and like you said, and Jason Crabb. And you're on, talk about it. It's like the superstar vocalist and the superstar comic all on one stage.
Well, thank you. I'm still having to pinch myself every day that I get to do what I do. But it's one of those things where I have never in my life felt more fulfilled than what I'm doing right now. And so that's also another story for people out there, that you can be in your late 40s and finally figuring out what you want to be when you grow up. So keep dreaming and keep looking.
Oh, I love it. TheMickeyBell.com, Ackworth, Georgia, Cinco de Mayo. You're going to be on stage, I think, at Wildwood Baptist Church.
Yes. Ackworth, Georgia. That's going to be a great one. Then we're going to be, I'm not sure where we're going to be.
I know, because he's got like 170 dates on the book. So
I have someone who emails me and tells me this is where you're supposed to be. All they do is they get me to the bus, and then they control where the bus goes. And I just get off when they say get off the bus. Where are we tonight? That's pretty much what I'm asking all the time.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I love you like more than lunch and jewelry.
Oh, bye. Listen, I love you, my sister.
All right. You take care. Bye-bye. Love me some Mickey Bell. He's so good. And I'm so grateful when people will talk about these things, because we have shoved it in the back corner in the dark. We've turned out the lights for so long that it is time people stand up and say, this is a mental health issue and we can do something about it. The Big Payback, like I said, is coming up this week. The bigpayback.org has all sorts of mental health organizations that you can either help with or get help from.
We've all heard the saying that a little can go a long way. This is especially true during the Big Payback's 24-hour online giving event, helping support hundreds of local nonprofit organizations. From 6 p.m. on May 4th through 6 p.m. May 5th, a gift of as little as $10 could be boosted by cash prizes and help to make a big difference in the life-changing work of local nonprofits. Learn more at thebigpayback.org.
That is tomorrow starting at 6 p.m. And this coming up in June, there's something so cool happening in Columbia. I cannot wait. Rory Feek is always at the helm of something wonderful. If you want to learn how to homestead, the Homestead Festival is coming your way.
What if you could learn how to grow your own food? raise chickens and milk cows, how to harvest, cook, can, and preserve, how to have babies at home and homeschool them as they grow, how to keep bees and start a flower garden, how to spin and weave wool, and even build, mostly a more sustainable life. And what if while you're learning, you could hear some of the greatest songs and stories from some of your favorite singers and storytellers of all time? And what if all that could happen in one weekend, in one big field of dreams? On June 3rd and 4th, here at our farm an hour south of Nashville, we're bringing together some of the most influential speakers, teachers, musicians, and icons for a 2-day event where you can learn not only how to grow your own food, but how to grow a life filled with meaning and purpose. Get your tickets today at thehomesteadfestival.com.
For me, that was part of my mental health journey, was I love taking care of the farm animals, and I love the day-to-day of that. And that's my that's my therapy. That's what I do. And you're going to find all sorts of wonderful therapy at the Homestead Festival. Well, if you have not been to the Nashville Zoo to see night visions, you are missing out, because it is a fabulous expression of art and light and nighttime at the zoo. The sounds and the birds and all the little creatures making it's just a wonderful, wonderful night. Night visions through the 17th of July. Well, we got so many people checking in. We are a very interactive show. We're the only really, truly interactive show in Middle Tennessee that we go really back and forth. And you guys are as part of our show as much as anything. And Lindsay Wheeler, thank you, Devin and Mickey. We're having the conversation, aren't we? And Elizabeth, I've always thought that sometimes God heals us by putting the healers in our paths. Of course. Of course. And there's always hope. There's always help. Absolutely. Hello to Leslie today. And I like how you guys kind of create your own little coffee clutch. Everybody's talking and saying hi. Victoria Veneer, who's part of the Gatlinburg Songwriters Festival coming up August 18th in Gatlinburg, GatlinburgSongwriters.com to find out a little bit more about that. Oh, here's my buddy, Evelyn Ford. Yes, good morning from down in the country. Yes, Evelyn is in Louisiana. All my folks just jumping in there. Oh, and Leslie is from North Carolina. Forgot that. We got you all just part of what we do here every single day. Well, we had a little departure today, and I actually got another email this morning. Devin, why aren't you saying anything about Naomi? I wanted to make it this. I want us to talk solutions on this program. I want us to talk help. I want us to talk resources. We're not focusing on the problem or who knew her more or who didn't. We're going to talk about ways to help each other. It's a tough world. And if we don't help each other, we're missing the point, right? We're just missing the point. Well, I'm so glad that you guys joined me today. It's a beautiful day in Middle Tennessee. I hope wherever you are blessed and happy. Be safe when you're out there and be kind to each other. That's where it starts. And most of all, remember when it gets darkest that you are loved. You are loved. Did you hear me? You are loved. Have a great rest of your day.
Nothing like the sunrise with your coffee in the morning, or taking a good book off the shelf. Another thing I love the most than being on my own is together with everybody else. spirit.